Hello and welcome back to another final table review. Today we got the Zodiac Snake Bounty final table. I suppose I'll quickly just let you know the conversion rate between the Chinese currency and the US currency is 7 to 1. So the numbers look a little bit inflated here today. But just know it's about $300 for first place plus all the bounties on top of it. We got about $100 locked up. Boppity boo as we quickly swap a bunch of seats. We'll just note that Mr. Dim is kind of a fun player. Curtin a fun player as well. Then when there's Lin with the $200 bounty on their head. Even though it's not $200, it's 200 Chinese currency dollars. Oh shit, we should restart. But we're not going to. Boppity boo. So where do we want to sit? We want to sit by Lin. We want to sit by Curtin. And then there's Nico, who's a strong player, who I probably shouldn't have sat beside, if I'm being completely honest. Put them in position on me. But I wanted to play with Mr. Dim in the big blind, me on the button, but instead Mr. Dim will switch spots with GTO Trenner. And I suppose that's not too bad of a deal for myself as well. So Mr. Dim in the big stacks on the opposite side of the table. We got 63 blinds to start this bad boy off. Alrighty, Roo, a 6 and a 5. We'll happily let this one go. If folded to, I wonder if I should go for the open. I probably wouldn't. Doopity-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. To be completely honest, I'm a little afraid of Nico. Star in the Sky, I've just got respect on their name. GTO Trenner as well, I'm a little bit afraid of. That's just a couple of notes to start this bad boy off. Mr. Dim will get things going with the raise. GTO Trenner will call. King 9-3 flop goes check. Mr. Dim sees a good board for them. Probably going to go for a small bet here. Goes for about a third pot size. We could have even gone a little bit smaller. GTO Trenner finds the fold. They did size up a turn jam, so it makes sense there by Mr. Dim to go 1/3. Boppity boo. GTO Trenner with about 10 blinds. I think they rip it all in here. There's the all in, and Star in the Sky quickly gets it all in as well. So in the second hand, boppity boo. 6-5 suited versus ace and something. Ace and a 2. 5 on the flop. That's good news for Star in the Sky. Excuse me, Star in the Sky. No ace on the river. Boppity boo. So GTO Trenner's Gonzo Alonzo. We lose a strong player. Star in the Sky gets a nice bounty. But most importantly, the chips, they're in third place with 1.4 mil. So we do have 4 bigger stacks starting to brew. Mr. Dim, then ourselves in second place. Star in the Sky in third. Curtin in fourth place. Sitting comfortably above Nico and Lin. Gonna see a raise from the button, a call from the small. Curtin in the big is going in the tank. We'll play call as well. 7-7-6 flop. Wait, 7-6-6 flop. There we go. Mr. Dim will find the check ski. Curtin will check it over to the pre-flop aggressor, who takes a stab. We do get a call from the big blind. Interesting stuff. There's lots of straight draws, lots of flush draws out there. We get the deuce on the turn, a complete brick. Doopity doo, Star in the Sky will go for a big bet ski. 250k into 330, and the bet will get through. Doopity doo 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 doo. 6-3, we'll happily let this one go. Do-do-do-do-do-do-bitty-do-do-do. Folds around a Curtin in the small blind. We'll see if they elect just to put all the pressure on Lin. Instead, they go for the limp ski. Lin goes in the tank and we'll rip it all in. For what looks to be about 15 or 16 blinds or so. Boo bitty boo. 9-5 in the big blind will happily fold. Don't care to defend my big blind against Mr. Dim with this very shitty holding. We are playing 60 blinds deep, so I certainly could if I wanted to. But 9-5 offsuit will just hit the muck. Jack 7 off in the small blind. Against Nico, a player I respect, I'm going to go for the limp strategy. Keep ranges super wide, hopefully flop well. And other than that, we'll play pretty passive against Nico. Even though I've got the big stack, I should be putting the pressure on Nico. Just, I think Nico's a stronger player and I don't want to get bullied by them. I don't want to build a big pot with no holding, so Jack 7 offsuit. On the flop, I think I was going to go for a check call against the min bet. On the turn here, deuce, we're just completely whiffed. We've just completely whiffed, so we'll just let it go. 8 on the river. That doesn't matter. 7-5 offsuit. On the button, we'll just fold. Nico will limp it on in. Star in the sky will go for a raise to 3 big blinds. Nico will jam it all in. Goes for the limp raise jam play. So we're going to see a lot of pocket pairs here from Nico. Potentially suited ace-x. Suited broadways. Some of that's got some playability and Nico might just take that post flop. So it is kind of interesting to see, or it would have been interesting to see what Nico elected to go for the limp raise jam with. In the end, the jam gets through and we're moving along. Star in the sky will go for the big raising from the small blind, 3.5x, and the raise will get through. Doobity doo 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 doo, queen and a 3. We'll find the fold. Yes, we're playing 60 blinds deep. That is a big stack. Not the biggest bounty on our head. Only 190 Chinese dollars. But, you know what? That's mighty fine. Got a good opportunity to scoop some more bounties. Do 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 bitty do do do. 9-6 suited. We'll find the fold. Star in the sky will raise it on up. Lynn in the big blind. We'll see if they elect to go with their holding. Do we go to the flop? They're in the tank. Boppity boo. Lynn finds the call. King 5-4 flop goes check bet. Lynn goes in the tank and goes for the small raise. Very interesting, very strong play. The raise on the flop will get through. Strong as in like it makes Lynn's hand look super strong as we pick up a couple of 10s. Lynn will limp it on in. We'll go for the small raise. We make it 3.7. We could make it 3.5. In the end, the raise will get through pre-flop. Is there a difference between making it 3.7 and 3.5? I don't think there's much, except we get a little bit more juice on top of it. On top of our raise, so why the hell not? Lynn finds the fold. We're moving along. We get a queen and a 7. I'll limp it on in. King 3-2 flop. Another flop we completely miss on. We could always go for the check call. We're going to be playing a guessing game on all turns and rivers, and I don't want to give Nico too many chips here. Find the fold. So in the end, I do find the fold. We would have made a pair of 7s. I don't think that really matters. Like we could have, of course these are limp pots, so ranges are going to be super wide. And the queen high is probably good on the flop. But again, I'm just trying not to play a bloated pot with Nico. I'm trying to lull him into a false sense of security. And hopefully that will get rewarded at some point. Curtain will go for the open. Lynn goes in the tank. They find a non-all-in 3-bet to 200k. Boppity boo. Curtain in the tank this time. We'll find the fold and we're moving along. Do 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 bitty do do. A couple of sevens. We'll raise it on up with the intentions to fold to a 3-bet. Sevens do become a stronger holding as we are only playing 6-handed. The thing is, I've been rather snug. I don't think I need to defend against a 3-bet right now. Star in the sky makes it 8.2 blinds to go. Had they made it like 5.6 or something small, maybe we can continue. But we're very likely up against either a stronger pocket pair or at least 2 overcards. And we're going to be guessing on all streets, so we'll just find the fold. Then we get a little break ski. Coming back from the break, we get a 7 and a 4. We'll let that go. Doobity doo 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 doo. Nico goes in the tank, and we'll find the fold. Star in the sky will go for the open. Mr. Dim in the tank this time. Doobity doo doo doobity doo doo doo. Putting a 3-bet, Mr. Dim. Do it now. No, they find the fold. And Curtain will let their bullshit go as well. Queen 10 off under the gun. We'll find the fold swiftly. Could go for an open potentially. But we're trying to play tight as right. Mr. Dim will go for the open. Curtain will call from the small. Lynn in the big blind, getting a fair price to go along to the flop. Will go in the tank. There's 230k in the middle. There's the all-in from Lynn, making it a full million chips in the middle now. Curtain in the tank. We'll find the fold. Ace-6 in the big blind. Interesting holding. We'll see what happens. Curtain goes for the open. I wonder if I should 3-bet bluff this hand. Just make it 7 blinds or something like that. Don't feel like we can fold. I do land on the call option. 10-5-4 flop. Good board for our ace-6. We got the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. We get a free turn, the 3 of spades. I think I should go for a bet ski here. We'll see if I land on it or not. I think a check would be a pussy option. I think we should size up a river jam. Oh, and I do land on the check like a puss. Ace-6 could still be the best hand here. Get the 7 of hearts on the river so we make a straight. Doobity-doo. So I suppose sizing, I just go large. Make it look like we got some sort of bullshit. Bullshit or straight? Straight or better is what I'm trying to say. We could still have a flush. And then the weird thing is, let me know what you do facing a jam on the river. With the ace of spades in your hand. It's very unlikely to happen, but if you faced it, what the hell would you do? Ooh, ace king suited. Mr. Dim will go for the open. So we got a 3-bet coming on in. Let me know what your sizing would be. For me, I go big. Although, to be fair, what I've heard what you should do on the final table is go for a smaller 3-bet. So again, like some people make it like 5.6. I don't care to do that. I'm out of position. I'm just going to play a big 3-bet. Whereas 6-handed, we have ace-king suited. The big 3-bet will come on in. Hopefully Mr. Dim will rip it all in with a big bluff. In the end, they just find the fold. We get a 7-4-2 flop, so I suppose it's alright that we didn't go post flop, although our ace-king suited still could be good on that hand, or on that flop, sorry. It would have been difficult to navigate post flop, that's for true. 10-6 suited on the button. We'll go for the open, get a call from the big blind. King 6-2 flop goes check. We go for the small bet ski here. We could always check back the flop with middle pair, but I say there's plenty of flush draws, some straight draws. We get the ace on the turn, so we could turn our 6 into a bluff, or we could just check and go to the river. Get the jack of spades, and I don't think I want to put another penny in the pot. There's very few flush draws that we still beat. Then there's the king X that we lose to. We could have repped the ace X on the turn if we wanted to. So like we could have checked back the flop and bet on the turn real large. Try to get a king to fold at some point. I don't know if it would have worked out or not. In the end, the small bet on the flop only was 1.7 blinds is what we lost. So I don't mind that. Star in the sky versus Mr. Dim. We get an 8-7-3 flop. Goes check. Check. 3 on the turn. Star in the sky goes in the tank. We'll bet 140k. A little bit less than half pot. And Mr. Dim will go for the min raise. I mean, it's a little bit more than a min raise. But the small bet on the turn, the small re-raise will get through. King 5 will find the fold. Lin goes for the open under the gun. Lin's raise gets through pre-flop. King 3 off will find the fold. Boppity boo. Star in the sky will go for the open. Hopefully Mr. Dim's coming in for a 3-bet. There it is, 202k to go. Gonna price Curtin and Lin out of the pot. And Star in the sky will also find the fold. Couple of ducks. Ooh. Very easy hand to play. We'll just set mine. How deep are we? Quickly look. 45 blinds deep. I think it's close, but we can still set mine. Queen 8-8 flop. Very interesting board. Our ducks could still be good here. Do we want to go for the check call? Wow. You know what? I'm the type to fold and avoid guessing games. We get a free turn. The 6 of spade or 6 of diamonds. Sorry. Shouldn't be a great card for him. But I would imagine his range is rather wide, so we could have a 6. I don't think he would bet it. I think some 8x might check back the flop, or a queen. Maybe not the 8x. And we see the big bet. 4 blinds to go on the turn, and we'll find the fold. And we would have smacked the deuce. Would have made a full house. We'll just pretend Mr. Dim had a couple of queens to make my ego feel a little bit better. To be fair, Mr. Dim went for the big bet, so I'm not too upset about finding the fold on the turn. 4-3 suited, we'll limp it on in. Ace Jack 8 flop, another flop we completely miss. I was thinking about stabbing, but then I was thinking I want a little bit more than a backdoor straight draw. We pick up the 4 on the turn. I don't even care for it if I'm being completely honest with you. Again, it's another limp pot and ranges are so wide. Maybe I should check call, but I don't care to give Nico a big blind if I'm being honest with you. I probably should check call. This is what they call exploitable, I would guess. At least my strategy's been so far. Because like every single time it's just been limp. Check it on over to Nico. Nico bets a big blind and takes the pot down. But again, like I'm trying to lull him into a false sense of security. Although to be fair, Nico's a strong player, so as soon as I play back against them, they'll know something's up. So it's a very interesting dynamic that I'm building here. It's not necessarily a winning strategy, but we'll see how it plays out. Get the Queen Jack suited, we'll go for the open. Star in the sky, we'll call the big blind. 9-6-5 flop. Dippity doo to do to do. 5 blinds in the middle. I don't know what I do here. I might go for the check back. 2 overcards, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Don't want to get check raised off the pot. We see a jack of clubs on the turn. Pretty good card. Star in the sky quickly checks. I think we should go for a little bit bigger of a bet here. We do go for the half pot size. That's very nice. 5 of diamonds on the river. I think another value bet comes on in here. Try to get called by worst Jack X, 9X. We face a lead which is rather small. I don't think we raise this. I think it's just an easy call. And take it down a lot, I think. Ace 9 for star in the sky. I don't expect a lot of 5x to go for that small ass lead. Star in the sky, a strong player. That just looks like a very thin value bet. A little block bet. We'll happily call and see the great news. Had they checked to us, we probably would have bet a little bit larger, so star in the sky. Save themselves some chips there with their lead. They'll go for the big raise pre-flop. Mr. Dim will jam it all in. We get a call. Ace 5 versus Ace Queen. Boppity boo. 6-6 2 flop. So we got some chop outs. 9 on the turn. Lots of chips in the middle. 2.4. And we get a deuce on the river, so we chop it on up. 10-7 off. We'll let this one go. Doopity doo doo doopity doo. We're sitting in a comfortable second place now. 2.1 million chips. Mr. Dim with 2.7. Star in the sky with 1.2 mil in third place. Then we got our 3 other shorties. Lynn with 19 blinds. Nico with 17. And Curtin with what? Like 11? 10? 12? Somewhere in there. We get a Jack 10 offsuit. We could go for the open here. This could be a little bit too tight of a fold. But again, I think I like just playing my strategy, keeping pots small, playing tight, and then when we play some wide ranges, again, we're keeping pots small. But when we're putting the pressure on, we'll look to brew the pot. Doobity doo, doobity doo. Curtain will jam and get one through. So we would have flopped a straight draw and a flush draw. Curtain probably would have jammed and we would have folded pre-flop. We get a couple of 4s, so we're in another weird spot where if Curtain goes for the open, we could always jam. If Lynn goes for the limp, I don't know what to do. We should maybe go for the raise. We could always check it back. So we got some options here with the 4-4. The only thing is I don't want to punt off my stack. I don't want to double up Lynn. in a very marginal spot. So again, I'm going to try to keep the pot small here, I think, with the 4-4. Queen 5-3 flop. So there's a lot going on here. Queen 5-3 flop. We got the backdoor straight draw. Maybe this is a little bit too wide of a call. We get the deuce on the turn. That's a very good card. Now the question is, what do we do here? Are we bluffing? Or are we betting for value? I think if we're betting as a bluff. We might be trying to get a 5 to fold. Ace on the river, so we get the max, or we get the best card. We're going for max value. We go for the all-in. I don't know if this is the right play. This might be too greedy. Maybe I should bet smaller, just try to get some chips. Try to bet like 300k. Could always bet to induce like 175. In the end, I land on the all-in. Just try to get called by the 2 pairs. Somehow if he shows up with his set. I doubt it. But if you have it, it's more likely 2 pairs. Some sort of ace 5, ace 3, ace 2, some sort of bullshit like that. In the end, Lin finds the fold. So maybe I should have bet smaller. And then I was thinking the king 7 suited here is another interesting spot where I could just jam this pre-flop. Curtain goes for the open. But I don't want to waste any chips. I don't want to double curtain up. Their bounty isn't too enticing. Only 105 Chinese currency dollars. As we see Nico defend the big blind, ace 8-7 flop goes check, bet, decisions. Nico goes in the tank, finds the call, 10 on the turn. Well, there's a lot of draws out there. Curtain will bet 4 blinds into 8.7. Nico in the tank. Do-betty-doo, do-betty-doo-doo-doo. Jack on the river. So there's a 1-liner to a 9. Queen 9 makes a straight. The flush gets there on the river. Nico lead jams. And curtain goes in the tank. Finds the call with ace jack, and we see ace 9 for Nico. So Nico makes the straight, gets the bounty. Most importantly, the 28 blinds in the middle. Small bounty slides Nico's way. Big pot slides Nico's way. And that's bad news for the table if I'm being completely honest. Nico with a big stack is terrifying. 30 blinds for Nico. We still got 46. So we're sitting pretty. Jack 2 suited. We should go for the open if Lin folds. So this pot ranges are going to be super wide. We're okay with that. We'll look to keep the pot small, but we will put the pressure on if the board does connect with our hand. Lin is super deep in the tank, so we might not even get the opportunity to play the Jack 2 suited. All in from Lin, so we have to fold. Ace high board would have been fun to stab on, but Lin will get the jam through pre-flop. Queen Jack will open if Lin folds. Do-bitty-do. Oh, Lin goes for the min open. Interesting. I don't know what to do here. This looks pretty strong to me. Lin just jammed it all in. Now we go for the min open. Queen Jack offsuit. I'll just let this one go pre-flop. Mr. Dim in the big blind. We'll see if they want to take a stab at the pot. They play call. 10-8-4 flop goes check. Likely a bet coming in here from Lin. Do-betty-do-do-do. Lin plays check. We get a king on the turn. Mr. Dim will check. Lin will bet small and take the pot down. 6 on the river is irrelevant. I suppose a few straights get there, but I mean it's irrelevant. Mr. Dim limping on in. Lynn in the tank. Thinking about a raise here. They go for the non-all-in raise. 125k is the size, so 75k more to call. Mr. Dim is getting a great price. But this looks super strong by Lynn. 772 flop. Lynn will bet a big blind. Is that 2 big blinds? Shit, I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like 1.5 blinds. There we go. 8 on the turn, so we got 2 flush draws, bunch of straight draws. We get the 3 on the river, completing the spade draw, the front door flush draw. Mr. Dim will go for a small bet ski. Lynn in the tank. Holy shit, is Lynn ever in the tank? I almost fell asleep there for a second. And Lynn finds the fold. Ace and an 8 in the big blind. If Lynn limps, we got some options. We could check it back. We could go for the raise. Either one works out. We flop the toppest, a pair of 8s. Lynn will bet a big blind. We're going to go for a little juicer here on the flop. The board's super wet. 5-6 is a flop straight. We even make it a little bit smaller than 3.5, saving ourselves a little bit of money. Nope, we're going to go 3.5. Lynn quickly finds the call, 10 on the turn. So the board gets a little bit scary. We did size up a river jam. We could go for a small bet to track back the river. Instead, I think we just land on the check option. Queen of clubs. And we hope Lynn checks it on over. Lynn bets really small. We go for the whap. And I think we're going to end up finding the call. Although, to be fair, this feels like I'm getting milked. Just gotta hope that he's trying to value own himself with some sort of worse 8x. Lynn shows up with a couple of kings. Another whap. So Lynn limps on in the kings. We didn't raise pre-flop, that's good to note. We flop top pair. Lynn leads a big blind. We go for the raise. Turn goes check, check. Queen on the river goes bet small. And tank call from us. So in the end, Lynn takes down a nice pot. That's just poor play by me. I think I should have found the fold on the river. I was really praying that Lynn was value owning themselves with a worse 8. Holy shit. I was hoping Lynn was value owning themselves with a worse 8. There we go. But in the end, Lynn owned me. They get 2.4 blinds. I won't beat myself up too much about it, but I like the raise on the flop. I like the check back pre-flop. Then it just sucks on the river. I really wanted to see what Lynn was holding. Anyways, we get a 6-4-2 flop. Nico checks it on over to Mr. Dim, who's in the tank. And they'll bet small. Excuse me. And Nico will find the fold. Queen 10 suited. Very playable holding. We'll go for the open. Doopity doo 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 doo. There's a 3-bet. We'll have to fold reluctantly. Nico has not 3-bet yet, so we'll show them respect if it comes on in. Not this time. Star in the sky. We'll find the call. Ace 10 6 flop. Another middle pair, so we could always go for the check back. With that being said, we could always go for the c-bet. Doopity doo doopity doo. We go for the c-bet. Prepared to fold to a raise. Deuce on the turn. Would have completed the flush. That doesn't matter as we didn't see the turn. Star this guy folds on the flop. We're moving along. Nico will raise the button. Mr. Dim in the big blind. Doopity doo doopity doo doo. Ace 9 3 flop. Nico in the on the button, sorry. Bet's real small. Mr. Dim will find the call 9 on the turn. Wow, these guys are taking so long. I'm seriously almost falling asleep. Mid-hand. Let's pick up the pace, Nico. Nico goes for another small bet ski. 150k into 460. Mr. Dim finds the call. We get another 9 on the river, so we got a lot of boats for both players. Then does somebody have the 9? Making 4 of a kind. Oh, we get an all-in from Nico. Mr. Dim quickly calls. We both show the ace, or 9s over aces. So we chop the pot. How boring. Doopity doo, king 4 suited. We could always go for the open here. You see, this one is a spot that I'm not too proud of myself for folding. I think we should find the open with the king 4 suited. We'd have position on Mr. Dim. Nico and Star in the Sky are likely to fold. Instead, Mr. Dim will just rip from the small. Lynn will find the call, so we did save ourselves 2 blinds, it looks like. Ace king versus ace 7. Any 7s for Dim? Poppity boo, just a 7? Just a 7. No, we get a queen, so Lynn gets the full double. So just like that, we're in 3rd place. 2.1 million chips for Mr. Dim and Lynn. We get an ace and an 8 in the big blind. If Nico opens, we'll just go for the call. If Star in the Sky jams, we are in a weird spot. They go for the min open. Doopity doo, we're also in a weird spot, but Mr. Dim will take the opportunity away from us as they go for the 3-bet, and we'll happily find the fold. Star in the Sky will rip it all in. Ace king versus ace queen. And a queen on the flop. So just like that, are we going to lose Star in the Sky? They're looking for a king and only a king. No king for Star in the Sky, and they're gone to Alonzo. Big bounty for Mr. Dim. They're getting a little lucky, but to be fair, they're also set up. Just a cooler situation. And Star in the Sky's gone to Alonzo. Ace and a 3 in the small. Mr. Dim goes for the open. We could go for the 3-bet bluff here. We could also just fold and look to, well, look at this. Lynn goes for the opportunity. Goes for the small 3-bet. We'll have an easy fold with the ace 3 in the small blind. Doopity doo, and Lynn's 3-bet gets through. Five and a 2 on the button. We'll let this go. So anybody's game here, really. Nico's still in it with 1.3 million chips. 1 double up away from being in 2nd place. If they get a double up through Dim, they'll be in 1st. So just like that, Nico could be, Or Nico could take over the game at any point. Ace, queen, jack flop. Goes check. Lynn bets small, 75k into 300. Dim will find the fold. Queen 8 offsuit, four-handed. I could go for the open. We're gonna play tight as right and find the fold. Being 3 of 4, we'll just play patiently. We'll look for some suited connected stuff instead of just some sort of connected something. We would have been able to steal that pot probably. Ace, jack, jack flop would have been good for us. King 10 off in the big blind. We'll see how things go about here. Folds to Lynn. Lynn will raise 3 blinds. So this is a little concerning. We're going to find the call still. King 10 is super playable. Queen 9 4 or Queen 9 2 flop, sorry. So got the straight draw to the jack. There won't be no folding. I suppose if you bet 6 blinds I could find the fold, but Lynn goes for the third pot size bet. Easy call. We smack a pair of kings on the turn. 11 blinds in the middle. Very interesting pot. Lynn will check it on over. I think we should go for a bet here. 5 blinds? Whatever half pot is. Oh, don't check. There's no flush draw out there, so the 3 on the river is a complete brick. I think we should have bet on the turn. Half pot. We'll see this huge ass bet by Lynn. We'll never be folding here. I don't know why I'm wasting time. Find the call. Find the call. But just there's value that we lose to, you know? So I got a little bit scared, but we make the top pair. Boppity boo. Lynn makes the bottom pair. So it's like we lose to value. So it's a bluff catcher with the king 10, but it's just a perfect bluff catcher. So boppity boo. 7-2 will hit the muck. Ace 3 for Lynn. That's no good. Picking up the 2 pair blocker on the river. But that's no good. No siree. So that's a nice big pot going our way. Had we bet on the turn, we would have got a fold. So maybe the check back on the turn is perfect. I just didn't need to take so long with the call on the river. But with that being said, I still found it. We'll move along now. Jack 2 suited. 45 blinds, 2.7 million chips. We're not too far behind Mr. Dim now, as they limp it on NC and Ace 4 2 flop. Mr. Dim will bet a blind. Lynn will call. We get the queen of diamonds on the turn. Mr. Dim in the tank will bet quite large, 3.6 blinds into 4.5. Boppity boo, and the bet gets through. So 3 million chips for Mr. Dim. We get a king and a 9 in the big blind. Very interesting holding. Lynn will limp it on in this time. You see, we could go for the raise, or we could just take it post flop, and I don't mind taking it post flop. King 10 4 flop goes check, bet, then hopefully they call. Don't need to bet too large here. We just go for a big blind. Get a quick call, deuce on the turn. We should go for the big bet here. Look to check back a lot of rivers. Let me know if you go 3 streets with just king 9 here. On a brick river. So like a 6, a 7, Maybe not a 6, but a 7, 8, 9. Not the 9. As we get the king 3 of spades for Lynn. A little bit of a cooler in our favor. Just a setup. Lynn picks up the flush draw on the turn. They can't go nowhere. And that's why I'm wondering, do we go 3 streets, try to get called by worst king X? Looks like potentially it could have happened. Do-ba-dee doo, do-do-ba-dee doo, do-do, 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 do-do. Blinds go up, we get an 8 and a 3 on the button, and we'll happily fold. Lynn goes for the open, Mr. Dim will find the call. Queen, Jack 10 flop, Mr. Dim checks. Lynn will likely bet small. 1/4 pot. And Mr. Dim quickly calls deuce on the turn. Goes check, check. 5 of hearts on the river, so that completes the flush. And Lynn bets 200k. We get a snap call. Ace Jack versus King Jack. And just like that, that was a nice thin value bet by Lynn on the river. Even when the flush completes, very thin value bet. As we get a couple 10s, we'll raise and hopefully get some action pre-flop. Nico rips, we'll happily call. If Lynn rips, we'll happily call. Mr. Dim goes for the 3-bet, we'll happily jam and get it all in. Doobity-doo-doo-doo-doo. Everybody folds, so no excitement. 3.1 million chips though. Ooh, first place position. Excuse me. First place position. Bobbity boo. Mr. Dim will go for the min raise on the button. Lynn in the tank. We'll find the fold. We'll play call from the big blind. Jack 7 of hearts. Hope for something good. We see a jack high board. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. 400k in the middle. Mr. Dim goes for the big bet here, 300k, and that's scary. We cannot fold, but this is terrifying. King of spades on the turn, so there's still plenty of straight draws that we're ahead of, some flush draws, but with that being said, the king is a bad card. I wouldn't be afraid to fold to a big bet on the turn. Mr. Dim could get away with murder with a big bet. If they've got the courage to fire, it's their pot. Mr. Dim goes in the tank. There's the big bet. 9 blinds to go and we'll find the fold. 10 of clubs on the river. That doesn't matter as we didn't even pay to see it. Mr. Dim will raise it on up. Get a call from Nico in the big blind. Ace 9, 8 flop. Mr. Dim will 2x overbet the pot, all in. And the big ass bet will get through. 9-5 off. Excuse me. We'll find the fold. Nico as well. Mr. Dim getting a walk. The stack is accumulating. That's okay. 10-7 offsuit will find the fold. Mr. Dim will rip it all in for about 20 blinds. And Lynn finds the fold. Do-ba-dee-doo. Ace 7 off in the big blind. This will be an interesting one. We can defend against Mr. Dim. If Lynn limps, we're alright to take this post-flop. We could also raise pre-flop. We are playing a little bit deeper, 20 blinds deep, so I wouldn't mind raising this time, putting some pressure on Lynn, as we've got Nico the short stack sitting to our left with 11 blinds. We'll make it 3.5. Just see what Lynn wants to do about it and fold to a jam, I suppose. as they've limped in king before. We see a king 6-2 flop, that doesn't matter. The raise pre-flop gets through. King 10 suited into resting holding. Oh, I think I remember this one. Lin goes for the open, and I don't know what to do with king 10 suited here. It feels too good to fold. Calling feels horrific. Jamming feels right. But you've got to have the courage to do it. And I don't have the big balls. We just find the fold. I think a jam would have been a very reasonable play there. But we're just going to look for a little bit better of a spot and move along. Lin will go for the open. Nico will rip it all in. $500 bounty on the line. I suppose it's not even actually $100. 500 Chinese currency dollars on the line. Hurry up, Lin. Let's make a decision. Doobity doo doo doo. Lin finds the fold. Do 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 bitty do do do. Jack and a 9. We could always open this one on up. We could just fold and look for a better spot. You know me. I'll fold and look for a better spot. I think so. Raise would have gotten through pre-flop, and we would have saw a 10 high flop if we went there. And that would have been a good board for us to stab. Anyways, we'll move along with a couple of 8s. If Lin goes for the limp, we got some options here. We could raise, we could check it back. If Lin limps, I think I like a raise. Hopefully we land on the raise. There it is, just click the button. Oh no, we land on the check. King, queen, 10 flop. Doopity doo, Lin will lead on out, and I suppose we have an easy fold now. So very passively played pocket 8s. I think we should have went for the raise pre. Looks like we should have lost quite a few chips there. But the passive play preserves the stack, and we're moving along with 31 blinds. Nine, 7, 6 flop. Nico checks. Mr. Dim bets large. 3.8 blinds into 5, and the bet will get through. Excuse me. Blinds go up. Lin will raise it on up. Queen 8 will fold. Mr. Dim will defend the big blind. We get a 10-4-2 flop. Mr. Dim checks. Lin in the tank. We'll bet half pot. And Mr. Dim quickly folds. Nine deuce off, easy fold, doopity doo. Doopity doo 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 doo. Ace 9 3 flop, limp pot. Mr. Dim takes a stab for a big blind. Lin finds the call. We get a deuce on the turn, so we would have made 2 pair, but that doesn't matter. 9 deuce off, we would never play. Doopity doo doo doopity doo doo doo. King Jack in the big blind. This will be an interesting one. Get the raise from Mr. Dim. We could 3-bet as a bluff. We could just take this post flop. If Lin 3-bets, I suppose we fold. Doobity doo 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 doo. Lynn does go in the tank. They find the fold in the end, so this will just be an easy call. Look to go post flop and flop something good. Ace-6 3 flop. So we could always check call with the backdoor straight draw. King high could be best here. I just think Mr. Dim is going to continue with a lot of barrels. So on the flop, I'll just find the fold. In a spot where Mr. Dim is probably getting away with murder once again. 4-3 off in the small blind will find the fold. Mr. Dim will go for the open from the cutoff. They're up to about 4 million chips now. Doobity doo doobity doo doo doo. Got about $200 locked up. Doobity doo 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 doo. Nico in the small blind. Thinking things through. 6 blind, 6.5. We'll rip it all in. Mr. Dim quickly calls. Ace Jack versus 9-6. 6 on the flop. Any aces or jack or Nico's Gonzo Alonzo. 9 on the turn. That will lock up the board for Mr. Dim, who finds the very wide call. Gets the big bounty, most importantly. All those chips on top of it. Do 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 do. 10-6 off in the big blind. Will fold. Would have flopped the pair. Oh no. 10-9 in the small blind. I think we should try to limp it on in and see what Mr. Dim does. If Mr. Dim raises, we'll just find the fold. They go for the jam. So of all the things to do, I wasn't expecting that, but that's good to note. We'll continue a limp strategy with our strong holdings as well. Jack 5 suited, we'll just find the fold. Let Mr. Dim do the work here. Because what I really don't want right now is to give Lynn some of my chips. If Lynn picks up a pot here or there, that's kind of whatever. But I don't want to give them my chips. So Jack 5 suited hits the muck. Ace Jack in the big blind. 3-handed super strong holding. If we face a limp, we should go for a 3.5x raise or 3x, somewhere in between there. 3.5 makes a lot of sense. Calling all in. Hope it comes on in, and Lynn quickly folds. We see a king high board. Would have been difficult to play with the ace jack. Get it on through pre-flop, so there's no worries. 5-3 suited. We could try another limp. We could also just preserve our chips and find the fold. Do 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 bitty do do do. 8-6 on the button. We'll fold. Mr. Dim will limp it all in. Limp it on in. There we go. King 9-2 flop. Mr. Dim takes a stab and Lynn quickly folds. Do bitty do 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 do. Queen 10 in the big blind. Mr. Dim raising it up. If Lynn jams, we fold. If Lynn folds, we call. What does the flop bring us? 7-4-3. So we got the backdoor diamonds, 2 over cards. If we were just playing for chips right now, I'd certainly call on the flop, potentially even check raise. We get a free turn, which is the queen of clubs. So I think this is just a smack dab check call. We get the 3 of clubs on the river. We should go for some value and maybe go large. Doobity doo 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 doo. We could even go bigger. 3.2 is the size we elect to go. Try to get called by some sort of pocket pair that didn't bet the flop. That doesn't make much sense. Maybe some sort of ace 4. Maybe 5-5 or 6-6 if it didn't bet on the flop. Maybe just ace high. So maybe I should have sized down a little bit. But I think I need to make my hand look like a bluff as well. So in the end, I elect to go for the bigger size. And just see if Mr. Dim wants to be a hero or not. 4-3 offsuit will happily fold. Lin in the tank will find the fold. Not likely. They're thinking, what size do we go? All in, or do we go for a smaller size? They land on the all in option. And the all in will get through. Do 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 bitty bitty do. 10-6 will find the fold. Mr. Dim will limp it on in. And Lin in will likely check it on back. They are in the tank. Looks like a raise is coming in. Lin will jam. And the jam's likely to get through. Mr. Dim is not afraid to call with the 9-6 off. Just looks like a different situation, so Mr. Dim will find the fold. Doo-doo-ba-dee, Mr. Dim raising the button. Jack and a 10 in the big blind. We have a call. Let's go post flop. Queen 4-2. We got the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. This could be a check raise. Whoa. Do I find it? Oh, I'm sizing it up. I don't think I find it. I think I fold. But holy shit, we sized it up. So we're almost there. We're almost ready to pull off the big bluff on the final table here. Just not yet. King 6 will find the fold. That was a mistake. That was just a mistake. I remember that fold. I was like, what the fuck did I fold King 6 off for? I think I should have limped it in, probably faced a raise, and would have found the fold. Anyways, Mr. Dim will rip it all in and get it on through. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to play many buttons as we just haven't had many holdings. In the big blind, we've had quite a few as we get an ace and a 3 this time against Lin. We'll see what they elect to do. They limp it on in. We could go for the raise. We could check it back. Either option. 8-6-4 flop. So we got the ace high. No backdoor 5-2. We got a backdoor straight draw. We see the big bet on the flop. We haven't seen this yet. We'll show it a little bit of respect. And I think we just find the fold on the flop. Although again, this is very passive. I think we should have raised pre. But as played, on the flop, we don't got much playability. So we'll just find the fold. So Lin pretty well ties up with us, and they even take the slight chip advantage over where our situation is. And then we get a couple of 3s for 13.5 blinds. I don't know what to do here. Should I min raise? Should I jam? I land on the fold, but I don't know what to do here. All in from Mr. Dim, and we would have made a set of 3s. The 3-3 just doesn't have much playability if you don't make a set. So 13 big blinds, I was thinking I have to jam or fold. And 13.5 blinds seemed like it was a little bit too many to jam, so I found the fold. So in the end, we see the bad news. 3-2 gets a free flop. We get the deuce of hearts on the flop. Backdoor flush draw. We'll see a min bet. I don't think we defend here. Boppity boo, we very well could. Oh, and a deuce on the turn. So another situation where I just went snug. I went tight as right, and it unfortunately did not pay off at all. Looks like we're missing quite a few million chips from our stack. If our hands would have held, of course. But had I ripped in the 3s, it looks like I would have potentially got called by Mr. Dim. And it looks like we would have made a set and got a full double. With the deuce 3, who knows what would have happened. But we probably would have picked up a few big blinds anyways. Ace 9 6 flop. Mr. Dim will take a stab. Lynn in the tank. We'll find the fold. Well, that's taking forever sometimes there, Lynn. Really thinking their decisions through. We get a 9 and a 2. All in from Mr. Dim will happily fold. Playing about 11 blinds deep. Easy game for Mr. Dim. Boppity boo. Queen 4 off will happily fold. All in from Lynn. Doopity doo, and the all in gets through. Do 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 bitty do do do. 3 and a 2 will find the fold. Mr. Dim is all in. Lynn quickly folds as well. 6 and a 2 in the big blind. Hopefully we get a walk. Otherwise we're just folding. If there's a limp, we just check. We get a walk. That's great timing. Very, very lucky. Oh, and there's a break. Coming back from break, we got an 8 and a 3. It was suited, but we'll just find the fold. 7 blinds, of course. Doopity doo 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 doo. 10 and a 7 will find the fold. Mr. Dim likely to rip it all in. Mr. Dim actually goes for the call. Lynn will check it on back. 6-5-2 flop. All clubs. We'll see what happens. Mr. Dim rips it all in for about 2x the overbet pot. And the jam gets through. 8-4 in the big blind. Hopefully we get a walk. If Lynn limps, we'll just check. If Mr. Dim raises, we fold. Mr. Dim actually finds the fold, so that's good news. One more fold. Lynn jams. We have an easy fold. Do 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 do. 6-4 in the small blind with 5 blinds. Lynn will rip it. Lynn will rip it all in and get it on through once again. 1.5 million chips for Lynn. We got 800k. Should we rip the king with 5 blinds? I'm not quite too sure what to do. We just find the fold. King 10 in the big blind with 5 blinds. This will be an all-in. Yep, we're ready to go with it. King 10 off. What are we against? Jack deuce. Okay, good luck to us. 1.7 million chips in the middle. We flop top pair. That's great news. We got 97%. We turn our opponent dead. Doobity doo 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 doo. So just like that, we're back in the game with 1.7 million chips. Not too far behind Mr. Dim. Do 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 do. An ace and a 7 in the small blind. If Lynn rips, we rip it all in and go bounty hunting. Good luck to us. Don't expect to have a whole be miles ahead, but there is some worse ace-x that's Lynn's ripping it in. We see a jack and a 10, so we got to sweat the jack and the 10. Fair flop 73%. Fair turn 86% to the river. And we hold to get the bounty. Lovely. Great news for us. We got the chips, most importantly, 1.7 million chips slide our way. We're right back in the game. Doobity doo 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 doo. heads up poker, so I don't really know how to play heads up if we're being honest. I try my best. Jack and a 3, we'll start things off with a limp. Could always just fold. We say not today. So again, I'm not the best at heads up poker, so if you got any tips or constructive criticism on my play, fire it away in the comments. Ace queen 4 flop. Goes check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. Hopefully, Mr. Dim does find the fold and we're moving along. 2 blind slider away, good start. Jack and a 3 in the big blind. Mr. Dim limps it on in. And we check it on back. Queen 10 or queen 10 flop. So we got the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. I don't know if I should, but I'm gonna go for the check raise here. Hopefully it gets some respect. Go for the check raise. Boppity boo. Backdoor royal flush draw. Let me know if this is a little bit too wide. We get a queen on the turn. And now I'm pretty much done with the hand, as I just don't think we can get our opponent to fold a 10, and that's going to be difficult to get them to fold ace x as well, as I think Mr. Dim might find the call down. Deuce on the river. Pretty done with the hand. 9.3 blinds will slide Mr. Dim's way. $1.5 million chips in the middle. We'll see what size Mr. Dim goes for. 640k. 4 blinds. They show the queen. Said 4 of a kind. Good start for Mr. Dim. 4 and a 3. We'll limp it on in. And fold to the jam. So another hand we could probably just fold pre-flop, just like the jack 3 off. But I don't mind limping it on in and just seeing what the flop brings us. Queen jack. Facing a limp. We could jam. We could play check. I like playing post flop, so let's take it post flop. Queen 10 7 goes check, check, 6 on the turn. Lots of draws out there, so we're gonna go for the big bet. Size up a river jam. Doopity doo 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 doo. And the bet gets through. 4 on the river. Would have been happy to rip it all in. Queen 10 will do something here. We could just jam. We could limp it on in. We land on the limp option. Unfortunately, we have to fold to a jam, I think. Queen 8 7 flop. I think we should just bet 1 big blind. The board's super wet. We got the 10 of diamonds. We go for the big bet. I think we should just bet 1 blind. But I suppose it doesn't matter. In the end, we'll find, or Dim will find the fold. Do 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 do. Queen and a 10 the same suit. If Dim jams, I don't know what to do. If Dim limps, I like to play post flop. Jack 6 3 flop. So we got the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. That's some properties for a check raise bluff. I wonder if I find it. I think I find it here. A call is also an option. 6 on the turn. Interesting. So we're in a weird spot, let me tell you, where we're still ahead of some of this shit like 5-4. What else is there? Like 7-4, 7-5. But we just got like no ability to play on the river. Unless it comes a queen or a 10. Mr. Dim will take that pot away from us. 9-4 offsuit. We'll just let this go, I think. Doopity doo 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 doo. So the weird thing is we are gonna start after ripping it. We're gonna have to start to rip it all in. Ace 5 offsuit. We'll get it all in here. See what Mr. Dim shows up with. King 4 suited. Hopefully we hold for 3.5 million chips. We flop a pair of 5s. 75%. 84% going to the river. A 6 is a chop pot. Ooh, it is a Broadway card. No king. It's a club. So we're fine. We're fine. It's a club. Dippity doo. 17 blinds. Holy shit, that's a big pot sliding our way. 5-3. We'll find the fold. We could always limp it in. We just find the fold after the big pot. 10-5 offsuit. Not too excited about this. We'll just happily check. We could always go for a raise pre-flop, try to get him to fold. Some sort of like, what, 10-7 off, 10-6 off. Some sort of hands with a little bit of playability that dominate us. Doobity doo 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 doo. With the backdoor straight draw, we'll just find the fold on the flop with 10 high. And we're moving along. We got 10 and a 6 of the same suit. We'll limp it on in and hopefully get to see a flop. If Mr. Dim jams, we have an easy fold. And we would have flopped a flush draw with the backdoor straight draws. Doobity doo, Queen 4 in the big blind. Facing a limp. We'll check it back. Jack 8, 3 flop. Mr. Dim will stab. And we'll find the fold. Doobity doo, ace and an 8, we'll limp it on in. We could jam it all in. We got options. 8-5-5. Nope, that's a queen. Queen 5-5 flop. There we go. Goes check. We could bet a big blind. We land on the check option. Jack of spades on the turn. So I do like going for a bet here. We get called by a lot of worse hands. Then there's still the Queen X and Jack X, of course. But we go for the 1.5 big blind bet. Try to get called by the draws. King of spades on the river. So I don't know if I should bet that large. Maybe I should bet smaller. If that's what I'm trying to accomplish. I don't know. I think I like a big bet and check back river. All in, and I don't quite know what to do. King 9 for 14, 15 blinds. We could find the call. 10, 10, 5 flop. I think I do like a fold best as blinds go up. 4 deuce off. We'll find the fold. Doobity doo, doobity doo. 7-6 in the big blind. Facing a limp. We'll check it on back. Ooh, a straight draw. Open-ended, a 9 or a 4. We get the 4 on the turn. Bingo bongo. Oh, are we playing it sneaky? We're going for a quick check. Make it look like we got nothing. Mr. Dim goes for the raise. 1.7 blinds. And we're going to play it sneakily. Go for the call. A jack on the river. Goes check, check. Mr. Dim shows up with a pair of 4s. So I wonder if I should have played this one differently. Had I checked raised the turn, I don't think I get called. Had I lead the river, I don't think I get called. So I think I have to check it on over to Mr. Dim. I could be wrong though. Anyways, 10-8, we'll limp it on in, face the small raise pre-flop. 920k to go, and we have to find the fold. 12 blinds to 22, so we're still in the game. King 10 suited, we'll see what I do this time with it. Facing a jam, I think we call. Facing a limp, we can jam. We can also just check it back and play post-flop. We got options here. Doobity-doo, doobity-doo. We land on the all-in option. And the jam gets through. Queen 6, we can limp it on in. Hopefully we don't face a raise. If we do, we have an easy fold. Dippity doo 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 doo. 8-5-3 flop. There we go. What do we got going on? Backdoor straight draw, an overcard. We could either check or bet, and I think we should bet small. We sized up a big bet. That's not what we want. Mr. Dim will lead out on the Jack of Spades turn, and we don't pick up any equity, so I suppose we just find the fold with the Queen High. Again, we're still ahead of plenty of straight draws, but I'm not quite too sure how to navigate the river in that situation, so we'll just find the fold on the turn. Queen 7 suited facing the limp, we'll check it on back. Look to pick up a flush draw or some shit. Ace 10 2 flop, so we do have the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Properties for a check raise. Doopity doo to do to do, you know me. We're gonna stick it on in, and we'll see if it works out this time. We do size it down a little bit. Mr. Dim quickly calls ace on the turn. So we sized up a jam. I don't think we're going to take it. We were looking for a jack, a king, or a spade. We get the ace of diamonds. We're pretty well done with the pot again. So I wonder if we should use a better combination other than queen 7. Should we be a little bit more selective? Should we just use like queen jack suited, king queen suited? Something with the immediate straight draw? Maybe if we're playing deeper, the queen 7 suited has some playability post flop with the check raise bluff. But in the end, it doesn't work out. We're back down to 1.5 million chips. We got a pair of jacks. On the king 9 3 flop, Mr. Dim checks it back. That's super interesting. We see a big ass bet on the turn here. And I actually don't know what to do. I don't remember what I end up doing. But I'm terrified for my life if I'm being honest. We find the call 4 on the river. I hope it goes check check. If Mr. Dim jams, do we find the call? They show up with 7-5. Well, I hope I would have found the call. 10-8. We'll limp it on in. Doobity doo 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 doo. King 10 3 flop. Goes check. We are sizing up a min bet. We do find it. Mr. Dim quickly calls jack on the turn. So I think again we check back the turn here. And we go from there. Queen of diamonds, so not a good card. One liner to an ace or 9. Mr. Dim will rip it all in, and we find the fold. Do 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 do. Queen and a 10 in the big blind. Mr. Dim limps it on in. Thinking about a raise, that doesn't make much sense. Let's just play post flop. Ace, king, queen flop. So we got that bottom pair of queens. Mr. Dim has shown the willingness to put the bluffs on and then slow down. So this will be an interesting one. 6 of diamonds on the turn. $4.2 million or 4.2 chips, 4.2 big blinds in the middle. Holy shit. Holy shit. 6 blinds behind. 1 million chips in the middle, 1.5 behind. Mr. Dim rips it all in. We got the straight blocker, we got the pair of queens. And boppity boo. I want to be a hero. I don't blame me. Is this an easy call? Somebody let me know. Should I just make the call already? Should I fold? I don't think I should fold. Boopity boo. Now we land on the call, and we see the great news, 5-2 for Mr. Dim. Boopity boo. So we're back in the game with 4 million chips. Ace and an 8. We can limp it on in. 5-4-4 flop. I do, or it looks like I'm going to go for the min bet. But with that being said, I don't know what to do facing a check raise, so maybe I should just check back the flop. Would have been an interesting happening. In the end, the bet gets through. 10 and a 5, we'll happily let this go as Mr. Dim just rips it all in. And the jam gets through, boppity boo. Blinds go up, we got a queen 9 of the same suit. This is very playable holding. We could just jam, we will play limp. King 6 4 flop. Goes check. Ooh, looks like we're sizing up a big bet. 420k into 670. Hopefully the bet gets through. Otherwise we continue on jacks, 10s. What about a queen or a 9? Queen or a 9 are interesting cards. I think we just check them back. Doobity-doo, 10 and a 6 will jam. Or sorry, they'll jam and Mr. Dim jams. We have a 10 and a 6 and we find the fold. Queen 2. Limping it in. Boppity boo, boppity boo, do 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 do. Mr. Dim will raise it on up. Would have flopped the pair of queens. That's bad news for us. Ace 5 suited. We'll happily get this one in, but we get a walk. Doobity doo. Ace deuce. Playing 12 blinds deep. I don't mind the jam. We don't necessarily want to get called, but we got an ace. So if we do get called, good luck to us. It just doesn't play well post flop, so that's why I went for the jam instead of the limp. But we would have flopped the top pair of aces, so maybe I should have limped it on in. Doobity doo 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 doo. Mr. Dim limps it on in. Queen and a 7 will check it on back. Jack 7 3 flop goes. Check bet call. Doobity doo 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 doo. 9 of spades on the turn, so not the best card for us. There's still some straight draws we're ahead of. Get the ace of diamonds on the river. Doobity doo, doobity doo, doo doo doo. All in from Mr. Dim. I'm pretty sure this is an easy fold. I could be wrong here, but there's 4 spades out there, and Mr. Dim shows the bluff with 5-4 suited. What a nice play by Mr. Dim. Ooh, we flop a frickin' flush. What a time to be alive. We'll bet a big blind, and hopefully Mr. Dim comes along to the turn. Nope, not here, not today. Boo bitty boo, boo 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 boo. Ace 10 suited. We'll happily get this in pre-flop. Facing the limp, we'll find the jam. Doobity doo, doobity doo, doobity doo, doobity doo, doobity doo, doop 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 doo, doobity doo. The jam gets through. King 4 off. Limp it on in. We're pretty well tied up here. We're slightly behind Mr. Dim, who rips it all in. Facing the limp, and the jam gets through. King 10 suited. Facing the limp. We could play post flop. We can rip it all in. We got options. Out of position, I elect to jam it all in. Do 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 do. And the jam gets through. What a flop top pair. Ace 9 suited. So we got the option to limp it on in. We could jam it all in. Ace 9 suited, very strong, holding heads up. Either option is fine. Mr. Dim snap calls. Ace Queen, that's bad news. Any 9s, dealer? 9 on the flop, but we're going to need another one. We're going to need to see another 9 or we're Gonzo Alonzo. 9! Nope, the game's over. Boppity boo. Mr. Dim gets the W. They get the snake avatar. I was very, very, very upset about that. I don't care about the money. I wanted this snake avatar. I'm gonna try again tonight. But I suppose that's the end of the show, so if you made it all the way through, thanks for checking this bullshit out. Oh, how badly I wanted the snake avatar. With that being said, bye-bye. Adios, amigos.